Okay, hi Iman, how are you doing?
Hi Mortez, I'm good. How about yourself?
Good, good. Thank you so much. Iman, I think in Montreal it's extremely cold right now, right?
Yeah, we've hit record lows this year. It's colder than the North Pole. Average temperature at night during the last few days has been minus 20, 28, 29, so not for the faint at heart.
Okay, so I hope you're enjoying that cold weather. In Vancouver, we are not that cold, but we are getting a lot of rain. And yeah, if you want to get warm, just come here.
I look forward to it. For now, I'm enjoying the skis and the winter sports that come with it. So
I know. Yeah, you're a big fan of ski, I know. Today, we talk about Mandamus and startup visa. Let's start with the problem people are going through, which is for the startup visa. I have applicants, you have applicants, so many lawyers and other representatives, they have applications on their startup visa program, and government just shocked everyone with just putting the processing time over 10 years. So what are you seeing here?
Well, you know, the startup visa program was one of the best immigration pathways to Canada for us entrepreneurs, and over the past few years. Unfortunately, it's kind of hit a wall where the processing times of files have just exploded. We've seen moving targets that began from early 2020s when the processing times was between 12 to 18 months. Then things got passed along. It went up to 36 months, then 5 years. And as you said recently, at the end of last year, the government shocked everybody by publishing processing times in excess of 10 years, which is absolutely shocking and difficult to absorb for people that have invested so much time, energy, and effort into fulfilling their dreams to come to Canada and set up their startup.
Iman, let's take a quick look at what is happening on the website, Immigration Canada website. So I just go quickly and I put like startup visa, and I assume I've applied in 2020 January. So that shows me 100 people are in front of me and 1 month. So I change this one, I bring it 1 year forward. Then it's now 1,128 months. Then I go again 22. If you apply 2022, 4,500 people in front of you, and it says more than 10 years. So even if you apply 2022, they're saying that more than 2 years, and then 10 years. So 2023, 11,600. 2024, that gives you 22,200. And again, 2025, that's gonna give you 37,200. And then 2026 for sure is gonna give you the massive number. So let me change this one to January. It's gonna give you 45,200 people. That's ridiculous. And even the data not available. So the system does not process even this one. So yeah, just a quick reminder for people why we are here, and then see what are the options that people could have. So Iman, what is a delay? Can you define what is a delay in immigration system?
So a delay, as the word indicates, is basically the time that it takes the government to process your application from the day you submitted your file. So that's when they receive a full application package, they receive your fees, and nowadays it's all done online. So it's from the day you click submit, and it's from there that your actual delays of the processing on your file starts.
When I submitted my startup visa application in 2021, the processing time I think was about 12 or 18 months. So today they're talking about 10 years. So can I argue that? Can I say that at that time processing time was 18 months? Maybe the Immigration Canada would come back and kick me back and say, okay, today the processing time is 10 years. Do you consider this as a delay when they change the processing time on the website?
It is a delay. Now the question is the delay reasonable or not reasonable? The government has all kinds of reasons for making these processing times longer. There's different factors that go into consideration, but the bottom line is that processing times must remain reasonable. You cannot move the goalpost along the way they have and hide behind other factors that you say are attributing to that. Applicants who have applied have the right to have a reasonable delay and have a right to have their file processed in a manner that makes sense. Now, that's the question that we're gearing up to bring towards the court to see what is it that makes sense, what is reasonable, what is considered reasonable in the context of such an immigration program. You mentioned it yourself, people that applied in the best case scenario that you showed were the ones that applied in 2020. These individuals have a few hundred people ahead of them. Well, these people applied in 2020 with a processing time that was indicated at 12 to 18 months. We're 60 months past that, and they still don't have a decision. Whether or not those are the best cases to litigate, perhaps not, because they seem to be on the end trail of the processing times. But anybody that's applied in the last few years, I mean, they'll get permanent residency hopefully by the time they're grandparents at this rate.
Yeah, exactly. So Iman, we have another video. You and I, we spoke about Mandamus when you were in Vancouver, and then I hope you come to Vancouver again, so we can have some good time together again. So people can go and watch that video. I would strongly recommend you watch the Mandamus video. If you want to go short, what is a Mandamus? When does that Mandamus become a kind of realistic option for people?
Okay, yeah, you're right. We've already dived into the subject, but briefly said, a mandamus is a request made to a federal court judge to compel IRCC to make a decision on a given file within a reasonable time period that the judge will announce. Now, this does not force IRCC to accept an application. It doesn't guarantee that they will. They could very well refuse the application if they deem that your startup is not convenient or doesn't meet the benchmarks of what's needed. But at least they will be compelled by the court to make a decision on your file. The second part of your question is at what point does this become an option, or for who is it an option? Basically, when processing times become unreasonable and they no longer can be justified by the government, when there's zero action or zero developments in your case, and those are the cases that are the most ripe for a mandamus application.
Do you think there is a chance for people to go and fight against Immigration Canada on their startup visa program if the delay is unreasonable? I mean, what are the chances? How do you see the chances here?
I mean, it's hard to give a percentage of chances of success. However, the specifics of every case matter. So whether or not there has been requests for updates made on your file, whether or not you've provided updates on your file, what has been happening throughout the journey of the processing of your file. Those are the factors that we have to look at and we have to grapple to see whether or not it's reasonable for you to take your case to a federal court judge or not. There is no one answer meets all, unfortunately, in the context of this type of application.
Who do you think should consider legal action?
First of all, anybody who's not seen any developments on the processing of their file. We've encountered so many cases where they've received their acknowledgement of receipt, and since that time, there's been absolutely nothing. No request for updates, no request for medicals, radio silence. I would say those are the best type of cases when it comes to a mandamus application, but it really would depend, again, on the specific aspects of each file. Based on the current delays, I think anybody that applied after 2022 and onward, they're facing massive delays. Delays that no entrepreneur or no startup can actually successfully navigate, let alone innovative startups. Let's not forget, this program hinges on innovation. I mean, look, ChatGPT didn't even exist 4 years ago. So and look at where things are now. So 10 years from now, I don't know, we might have flying cars. So who knows where the state of technology is going to be? So how can one define definition over such a long period of time?
Yeah, that's not definitely reasonable. So Iman, there are a lot of rumors around the startup visa. I'm sure you know, you're a professional. You have helped, thousands of people. So I want to get your opinion. Some people would say government of Canada is trying to tighten the startup visa program so that many people get disappointed. Maybe they drop out of the program, or even some people are talking about the bills that are getting passed. So they're talking about mass rejection of startup visa. What do you see here?
It's always hard to predict what the government's going to do in terms of next action. You're right, there is an introduction of a bill that would give the government sweeping powers over immigration programs. There's justifiable reasons for that. You know, when we look down south and see what's happening to the immigration system in the US and the backlash that it could have for Canada, I think the government absolutely needs to arm itself with tools to deal with oncoming and predictable problems in that sense. However, when it comes to startup visa applicants, we must remember that startup visa participants have the capacity to bring innovation into the Canadian economy. This is not a program that the government should actively look to eradicate. The positive impact of such programs are truly remarkable, especially for Canada, who's having a real hard time right now remaining competitive on a global landscape when it comes to attracting entrepreneurs. We have clients of my own that, because of the delays, they're thinking of going to set up in countries like the Netherlands, other countries that have startup visa programs that are quicker, more responsive, and where they're being met with open arms. So I think in that sense, it would be a great detriment to the economy to simply eradicate this program. In terms of its management, there seems to be an issue, absolutely. I'm not here to resolve that on the side of the government, and more to the point, a mandamus application also is not there to force the government to revise its strategies. This type of court application is simply there to raise the alarm, to say that, hey, something is not right here. This action is not undertaken with the hopes of dictating policy to the government. The government needs to sit down, needs to engage with actors that are in the industry, which I believe they're already doing, and to come up with a solution to the backlog that's been created by their management of the program per se.
Awesome. So Iman, here I want to talk about the options that you already mentioned. So there's a mandamus option for people who have unreasonably been waiting, and then their application has been on a kind of silence mode for a long time. So they can use this option, they can retain your services. And I know you work with other fantastic lawyers. I know them, great team, very, very experienced. You guys have handled, I know I've been working with you guys, you've handled over 2,500 applications in the judicial review system. So that's great. But I want to see why people should work with a litigation lawyer here to fight against Immigration Canada.
Look, the alternatives that people can explore to taking federal action is public advocacy. There are many NGOs, some of which I'm in contact with, who are doing an absolutely great job of voicing their concerns, approaching the MPs, making sure that something is brought forth in the legislative table. Now, that's one side of the equation. However, when it comes to judicial action, the only one that can partake this is a lawyer. And unfortunately, immigration consultants do not have access to this legal pathways, which is an act that's reserved purely for legal members of the various bars of Canada. In our opinion, this is the route that has to be taken in conjunction with advocacy efforts. It's not just one or the other. We have three branches of government working with the legislative and the judiciary, and applying pressure on the government from both ends is a strategy that will most likely yield results. Because if we don't, things get brushed under the rug. No elected official wants to come out and and do their mea culpa that yes, our management of the program has led to certain issues. So pressure needs to be applied by both sides, and we firmly believe that one of the most effective way of forcing movement is through the judiciary, which is at the end of the line, the judiciary is also under a lot of pressure right now. There is a record case of immigration cases that have been filed. However, hopefully this type of action can fuel change when it comes to the legislative body as well. And if not, at least bring some reprieve for the people that are in the judicial process.
Awesome. So Iman, here there are a lot of people involved. So the lawyers are involved, the immigration representatives are involved. So the applicants, who are I think the most important people here are the applicants. The lives are invested here, right? So these are all people who are involved here. So how do you guys work with these people? Do you work with people directly? Do you work with immigration representatives? And then what is the system? How can people start working with you?
And we work with all the actors that are in the industry, basically. An IRCC representative, you're an immigration lawyer, or you are a client, all are welcome to join the cause. The best way to get started is to contact us. We have an intake form that is an initial way of bridging the gap that exists between us. If not, simply email us and let us know what you're going through, and we'd be happy to have a look, first of all, to see what your situation is, whether or not it would meet the legal threshold of the Mandamus application, and if that's the case, we'd be more than happy to explore that option with you.
Yeah, a lot of people are putting a lot of hopes here, Iman, because look at the immigration representatives. Well, they have charged money for these services, and then there has been no result, so that puts them under a lot of pressure. And also people, like let's say applicants, they have invested a lot of money and time, and then when there is no result, it's very stressful for them as well. I myself think that although maybe the opportunity is not 100%, people can still try to do something. I think it's better than doing nothing. It's better than just stay passive. So I know that the hopes are not extraordinary here. So I know that it's not that, let's say, I go and apply for Mandamus and tomorrow I'm going to get my visa. So that is something that you try to do something. So if it was you, Iman, if it was yourself, because it was your application, would you do the Mandamus under startup visa program?
I have to echo the feelings you just expressed. Whether it's the applicants who made a plan to come to Canada, given a time frame, had a great business idea, and now are facing this uncertainty, or whether it's the practitioners many of who have been who have to answer to the clients to say, hey, why is my file not processed, and who are often receiving the blunt of the applicant's frustration. I think this is a pain that's felt across the industry by everybody. If it was my own case, if I met the legal threshold, I would absolutely follow my rights. I would absolutely look to see if I could file an application for Mandamus. While it's not a guaranteed success, there's immigration by its nature, there is no such thing as a guarantee. However, we have to look at what's reasonable here, and we have to fight for the chance that we may have. And if it was myself and I met the threshold, I would absolutely push to have a decision made on my file.
So Iman, thank you so much for your time. I'm so glad that we can share this content to that 45,200 people that are waiting for a result under the startup visa program. I hope this content will kind of be seen by those people. So if you guys are seeing this content, I would really appreciate it if you share it to your friends or anyone who you know who has applied under the startup visa program. Thank you so much, Iman, and see you soon.
Thank you, Mortaza, for taking the time. It was a great conversation to have with you, and I will echo your sentiments that hopefully the word gets out and people realize that they do have options, because I do know that everyone is kind of in a despair mode and they don't know what to do. So options do exist. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.